welcome back, or hi, whichever. Today, it feels very navel gazily. Navel gazy. It feels very navel gazy. But I think it's appropriate because when this comes out, my birthday is the next day. That's right, I am a Libra. And I think with every birthday I get very reflective, pondering my orb, and yeah, every year there is an element of like looking back. Some years is worse than others. Some years I'm like, it's my birthday, and some others I'm like, it's my birthday. And this year is one of those years. So I thought I would go through my the past 10 years and rank the past 10 years. She's crazy. So we're going to start technically in 2013, just to give a bit of background lore. And we're going to do a tier ranking. And then the tiers, we have at the very top Golden Memory Central. This is when there was like so many good things happening, and the good very much outweighed the bad. Like with every year, obviously there's some shit, but the good very much outweighs the bad. And like some of my core memories happened, fundamentally changed me as a human being, in a good way. So that's the top. And then we have okay, yay! Which is when like it's been, let's say, 75% good, and there's been a lot of laughter, and I've not had many things to worry about, kind of. It's just been like mostly good. And also obviously like okay, yay is like the meme of like you're kind of clueless as to what is actually happening, and that's maybe something. So maybe it shouldn't be that high, but I've just made it that high anyway. Doesn't matter. Then we have it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Self-explanatory. And like those years, a lot of good things happened, but also a lot of bad things happened. The next tier is, well, at least I learned something. And yeah, with any bad year, you can at least get something out of it. It's either a lesson or a blessing, and those years are the lessons for sure. And then the last tier is call 999, because those are the worst ones. So I'm gonna give a bit of lore. 2013, I had broken up with my first boyfriend, who I was with for almost 3 years, like just under 3 years. I moved back in with my mum. I had just finished a course at college that I thought was going to be my last one. And I was just like working part-time, but it felt like full-time because I was working so much and I was doing a lot of overtime at H&M, where I worked for 7 years. So that's the lore 2013. It's not going to get included in the tier. 2014, I am 21 and I turned 22 at the end of the year. I had been single for a little bit. I did a little bit of dating. Some of it was weird, some of it was not. I feel like it's always the same, where like I'll have a very concentrated few months of dating, and then something will happen that'll just like prevent me from dating again. Either like a bad experience or a good experience, or just like I'll just be like, you know what, I don't want to do this right now. So I took a break from dating for several months apparently. I was miserable at H&M, although I was starting to make more friends. That was like a really important thing, because like the first 2 years that I was there, I was really trying to keep my distance, and I was like, I'm not associating with you fools. But like I realized pretty quickly that like your work friends can become your actual friends, and not just like people that you have to put up with. which is such a big lesson to have, I think, and like when people have it at different times of their lives. But yeah, I think for me that was vital, and that really like kind of changed my outlook on work friends. And ever since, like I've made it a point to embrace workplace friendships, because they're important. Like they're what gets you through the day. So I made more friends. It was my first proper year of not being in education. So I was just working and I was hating it. I really thrive under educational frameworks. Like I love having assignments, I love deadlines, I love having a semester, I love like having projects for 3 months at a time kind of thing. And yeah, I was like I felt like I was still also really trying to be creative, but it wasn't really happening. Like I was trying to do screen prints at home and I was flopping severely. I sold one thing on Etsy and that was it. And like I just had this like idea that I would become like a self-employed artist, and it just didn't happen. And like for sure some of it was laziness, but I think I became very quickly disillusioned with like how artists can actually make money, and that's continued, and I'm even more disillusioned now. Anyway, I had, oh my god, I had a weird internet situation with this guy who lived in Edinburgh. Hi, if you're watching. Who I'd never met, but we would talk incessantly every single day, and um, it just got really weird, and yeah, like there was a point where he was through in Glasgow and I was too shy to ask him to meet, and then he was too shy to ask me to meet, and we both got annoyed at each other. It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. Anyway, I ended 2014 by being asked out by my second boyfriend, who asked me out in the most brazen way possible when I was serving him at H&M. I was doing a return for him. He was returning a hoodie, and he asked if I wanted to have a drink sometime, and I went beetroot red, but ultimately said yes. But I did hum and haw for several days, and I even threw his number out into the bin and then fished it out a day later because I was like, maybe I should just do this. So 2014 was very much, well, at least I learned something. Like it was not, it was just drudgery. It was very much drudgery. I was really trying to come out more of my shell with like work friends, and I think that helped a lot. But other than those friends, like I feel like I was very much not in touch with a lot of other friends. Like I fell out with a couple of school friends, and that was very isolating, and like moving back in with my mum also was very isolating. But at least I learned something. So that's 2014 for sure. 2015 I was in a relationship, which was great. I've written it for the first 3 or 4 months. I'm so sorry to any of my exes if they're watching this. They won't. They won't. But like if they somehow do, I'm so sorry that you're going to catch strays. Like I'm sorry, but it has to be said. But yeah, that relationship was really, really good. We started going out in January, and up until like, yeah, I would say like April, May, it was just so nice. Like it was gorgeous vibes everywhere. Um, and it then kind of started to get a bit shit. But for like no discernible reason, well, there was discernible reasons, but like it wasn't like anything spectacularly bad. It was just like I didn't have really a stable group of friends, and neither did he. And so I think we were just like each other's best friend. And I think that can work sometimes, but most of the time it doesn't. And that's foreshadowing. Anyway, we started getting more serious. We also then moved in together within a year, which I had promised myself after my first boyfriend that I wouldn't do again, and then I did it. That was also my second year of no education, no courses or whatever, and I was hating it. And I was trying really, really hard to get a new job with of H&M and failing miserably. Like I just really wanted to be done with retail. Um and it just wasn't happening. I think I had like 3 interviews or something and none of them were successful. Yay. Despite all that though, I am putting 2015 in okay, yay. Cause I was very, very lovey-dovey, loved up, and I really enjoyed the relationship for the most part for that first year anyway. It was good, it was solid. And I was starting to make stronger connections at work for sure, but I was still not really at my best, let's say. So 2016, cracks were starting to show in relationship. That's what and they were like, I'm so sorry to that man, but they really were like, we were just like struggling on. I said we persisted through the horrors because like we really did. We were both just like really not mentally well at all. And it's just so sad. Like I think if circumstances had been different, if we had had more solid friend groups, um, it would have all worked out a lot better. I think probably ultimately we would have still broken up though because he wanted to get married and have babies, and I really don't want to do either of those things. But yeah, we also had like a dog at this point, which is crazy. It was very much a lesbian relationship. Like we moved so fast and so intense. And I don't know why we did that. Like we could have just chilled. I don't know if like he was a couple of years older than me, so by that time what he was like 25 going on 26. So I don't know if he was like feeling the pressure of like I need to have my life together. And like I hope he doesn't have that mindset anymore because it's such a present to be in that mindset. We then went to Morocco, me and my ex and my mum and brother and my brother's friend from Morocco. And that was the trip from hell. Like it was just not good. And it was also the first trip in like I want to say 2 years that I'd been on. So I was like really expecting it to be really fun, and it was just not. Like it was just pretty miserable for everyone involved. Like all of us got ill at some point or another from either sun oh my god, what's it called? I was gonna call it the French word sunstroke, or from food poisoning. Although at the end of 2016 I did start college again. I went back to study graphic design NQ with my friend. We decided we wanted to do something creative together, and we wanted to potentially do like a business venture. Didn't happen, but it was such a nice dream to have. Um, so that was good to start college again, and then I moved back in with my mum because things were going really shit for my boyfriend at the time. Like he just needed to be back at home. So I moved home as well, and it was good for like maybe 2 months, and then I was really, really miserable. So that year, 2016, was call 999. Like I should have been in hospital. Maybe not that bad, but like I should have been medicated or something because it was not good. It was not good at all. I wonder what's gonna happen next. Um So 2017, miserable everywhere for the first half, work, relationship, and college. I like wanted to enjoy college, but it was an NQ and I'd already done an HND at that point, so I feel like it wasn't as challenging as I wanted, but I'd already started, so I was just like, I can't give up now. And I also didn't have the money to be able to do something of a higher qualification anyway, because I'd already done an HND. Sorry if this goes over anyone's head who isn't from the UK or Scotland specifically. I don't give a fuck. You can look it up. So yeah, college was just like not very stimulating to me, and I was starting to like, I would just like show up late every day, and it was very much like a cry for help. Like I was acting like as if I was 15, you know. Work was miserable just because I was just like, I was either at work at college or I was commuting to see my boyfriend. So I just like, yeah, I didn't have any space for myself. I think the friendships I did have in work at the time were really, really strong. Um, but yeah, I was like, the management was just awful. Um, yeah, and I think also by that point we got told that the shop was gonna close down, um, to make way for like a different shop. So we were like, cool. But we were just gonna get like transferred to another store. Anyway, so that was the situation, 2017. I say that I was isolating myself from friends. I guess I was. I think I was just like so focused on trying to make my relationship work that I would just like not talk about it to anyone. And I should have done the opposite. I was depressed for 6 months of that year. Basically like the first 6 months I was just like just miserable to be around. I can't, like, so sorry to all my friends and family that had to be around me because I was misery guts. But then I realized after like I think probably like 3 months of thinking about it, I was like, I think I have to just break up with my boyfriend. And then I did it and I was so happy. So sorry to that man, but we were just never gonna work anyway. And like the relief that came with that was just so immense. Like it was like a release. There was a lot of guilt that came with it, unfortunately. Like there was because I was the dumpy, I felt a lot, no, I was the dumper. Hold on. Yeah, I was the dumper, and I feel like people don't realize how actually hard it is to dump someone. And like I don't mean just like when you've been casually seeing each other. I mean when you've been like in a long-term relationship and you realize that like you have to not be in the relationship to actually be happy again. Like it's very hard and there's a lot of guilt that comes with it. But ultimately it's for the best. And he's happy now, like he's with someone, whatever. But yeah, I the last half of 2017 was such release because I was just like I finally felt like myself again. I felt like I completely lost my sense of self in the first 6 months of that year, and then the last half of that year was all about like rediscovering who I was, and I was just like, oh my god, like why didn't I do this so much sooner? I should have done this like a year and a half ago. Anyway, so the second half I took a self-esteem class. Fans of this channel will know what I'm talking about. There's videos on my channel from 7 years ago that talk about that class that I went to, and that was a really big help, and it helped me to apply for a new job, which I got. I had already applied for another college course, but the self-esteem class also helped me like just do more things. Like I would push myself to actually go out to meet people instead of just like isolating myself and retreating into my shell. So yeah, I did a new college course. This was an HND, which was then gonna go into a BA, to study textiles, specializing in weave. And I made a lot of new friends through that course, and I think I also strengthened a lot of older friendships too. But yeah, just like made a lot of new friends. And for all of 2017, obviously other than my ex, I didn't date anyone else. I was just like, I need this time for myself. And I think that was the right move. And I'm currently doing that also from my last breakup. Like I'm not looking to date at the moment, maybe soon, but I think it's essential for me. Like everyone's different, but for me, like I really need to like return to myself and return to joy. And I don't think I find that when I'm dating. Anyway, so that was 2017, and 2017 was very much it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, because it started out one of the worst years ever, but it ended as one of the best. Like the last 6 months of it were so good. 2018, best year ever. I went on a solo trip. I went to Berlin, Copenhagen, Stockholm on like a little solo trip, and it was really fun. It was really exciting. It was really scary too. I was really like, whoa, what am I doing? and it was a little bit lonely, but like in a nice way where you don't feel like it's permanent. Like, you know, when you just feel so lonely that you'd never think you're gonna get over that ever, which is how I felt in my relationship before. Um, but yeah, I didn't feel like lonely. I was just alone. Um, but yeah, I did that. I then started dating again when I went into my. It was like at the end of that year I started dating again, and I had a lot of good experiences that year. Um, I had my new job, which was still within the H&M sister company overlords. So it wasn't like a big step, but I made a lot of friends through that. Um, Work was still fun for the most part. I also dated a girl for the first time. Yeah, like 2017, I was like, wait a minute, am I gay? I had been thinking about it a lot. Even before my breakup, I was listening to like a lot of podcasts with like queer guests on, and they would talk about it, and I'd be like, hold on a minute, I think this applies to me. But I would just like repress it because I had too many other things going on. So yeah, 2018, I was like, yeah, I'm gay. I want to date girls too. And by gay I mean umbrella term gay, like I am bisexual. And the last thing I said about 2018 was um it was my brother's wedding. Love is love. Love is love. And they're still together now. How great is that? But yeah, that was a gorgeous day as well. And I looked hot. So yeah, 2018 is very much golden memory central. Like, I just had so much fun. Was I a little bit manic? Maybe. Maybe. But it's okay. I think that also was like, how old was I there? Yeah, 25. That makes sense. I feel like everyone at 25 is crazy. Because it's like your quarter life crisis kind of thing. And you're like, hold on a minute, what direction am I taking in my life? And then you just go, you're just like, let's just take a shot. You just try not to think about it too much. So that was very much the mood. But it's fine, I kind of evened out after that. And then 2019, first half was very fun. I was finishing the like 2 years at college before going into the uni part, and that was still really good. My niece was born in March. She's a March baby. End of March. She's an Aries. And we literally went to see her 2 weeks after she was born, so it felt like I had given birth to her, even though I did not carry her to term. So that was like honestly world changing. Like, and honestly, since my niece was born, even the worst years, there's been an element of good because I've always been able to see my niece and then later on my nephew. That year I also went to Primavera for the first and only time so far, and it was the year that they did like 50% of the lineup had to be women, which they've not done since, which more to fill them because it was the best year of my life. I went to see Robin, I went to see Carly Rae Jepsen, I went to see Janelle Monáe, I went to see Solange. Like, those were the big four that I was just like, nothing is gonna top this. So yeah, that was like a crazy great holiday. I was also bridesmaid for a wedding, which is really fun. Um Dating life a little rocky, a lot of weird experiences, but also some very nice ones. What it says on the tin. And then I quit my job in the summer. I moved to Gala Shields and I started uni. And those three things in concession did give me severe anxiety, which I thought was a physical problem instead of a mental health problem, and all I got from it was iron supplements. And then the second half of 2019 was the worst 6 months of my life. I was so stressed. The moving process to Gala Shields was really stressful. The like landlady was a crazy girly who didn't know what the fuck she was doing. There was like a leak in the flat within a month of us moving there, and she just like freaked out about it and was just like not very helpful, and we realized we didn't want to live with someone, or we didn't want to live in a flat that was managed by someone like that. We then had to move into another flat, and then the girl I was living with was like, I'm going to quit uni, so I had to move into another flat. I was very stressed out about money because I had quit my job, and I had savings, but I knew that I was basically like just supplying myself on those and nothing else. And I didn't have that like safety net of work. And the transition from college to uni was also really, really hard, like a lot harder than I realized it would be. And I think moving to such an already isolated place was really hard for me. Um, and I was like away from my friends. It would take like 2 hours to get to see my friends, and I just found that really hard as well. Like it was just not a very easy transition in the first place, never mind with all the other like obstacles in the way. So 2019 was, hold on, where is she? Oh, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Yeah. I would say that tracks because the first 6 months of it were so good. Not even just 6 months, it was like the first 8 months. And then it all went to shit when I went to uni. And then 2020. Obviously not the best, but it did get better. I was in Galashiels during lockdown when lockdown hit, and I did not choose to move back because by that point my mum had moved from the 2 bed flat that we'd shared to a 1 bed, so I didn't have an option to move back basically. I stayed in Galashiels, which is in the middle of nowhere if you don't know your geography. I did not touch another human being for like I think 3 solid months, which was really hard. But I had a lot of internet friends, I had a lot of friends in real life friends as well that was like really good at keeping in touch online. My bestie would literally cold call me once a day, which at first I was like, whoa. But after a while it became such a nice routine to have, and it was such a good anchor for that year. But yeah, because I didn't have anything else going on, I didn't have a job, I would just go on walks pretty much all the time. But I kind of really started to like it. Like, it just, there's that meme that's like, when you're so depressed that you start seeing that the nature is beautiful or whatever. And that was me. Like, I would just go out and look at the trees and look at birds and stuff and be like, oh my god, wow. But yeah, that's what I wrote, communing with nature a lot. I also had therapy for like 2 months of that year, which really helped. I was stressed about money, but I was learning to ask for help. Like my mom was like, "What do you need?" And I would ask her for a couple of things, and she would literally make a care package. Like I remember the first month, there was no rice in any of the shops, so she sent me some rice and some noodles and just like stuff like that. I was trying really hard to make the most of my situation, and in like the latter half of the year, I got a lot closer with some uni friends, two in particular, and I was entering fourth year. And I think by that stage as well, because of lockdown, actually, that helped me to really work independently for like uni stuff. So going into fourth year, I felt a lot more prepared to just like go it alone and to not have the support from tutors. Um, so I felt I don't know, like resilient, let's call it. I also had another weird situationship in 2020 at the end of it, 2020. Wait, did it start then? I feel like it did. And that was a lesbian one. Hey. But yeah, that was weird and it fizzled very quickly. Anyway, so 2020, where did I put you? I put it in, well, at least I learned something. Because I did. I do think I learned a lot about myself in that time. And yeah. 2021. Uni is finally going good after almost a year and a half of like kind of struggling to get it. There had also been like a weird thing where at the start of fourth year, because lockdown was still active, they were like, we don't know if you'll have access to the studio. And so many people had moved from like Glasgow or Edinburgh to Galashiels to start fourth year thinking like we'll have access to the studio. And then they were like, once a week? Is that enough? which was not ideal. But then in 2021, they were like, it's all just going to be virtual. So we had to move everything virtual. But I learned like a lot, and I got two prizes from my hard work. So I finished on a high. I also got first honours. And I really don't feel like I worked that hard, but I think because I had nothing else going on, like all I could do was work really. And yeah, I spent a lot more time with one friend in particular, Emily, who I'm still really close to. Hi, Emily. And when things started opening back up together, I was spending a lot of time with her and another friend called Rowan. And that was really nice to finally like find my niche within college and uni friends. But yeah, it got to the end of uni. I was really stressed about my living situation because I didn't know what I would be doing. I didn't have a job lined up. I had like started saving money back up from getting SAS and stuff, but I was really unsure about what to do. And then ultimately I decided that it would be better to just move in with my mum, even though she was in a 1-bed flat, and we would try really hard to get a 2-bed flat. And in the meantime, I would live on our couch. So I did that. I was technically homeless for 7 or 8 months, which was not great. Just sleeping on the couch. And we also then got a mouse infestation. And I discovered I have a fear of rodents. But other than that, you know, it was fine. And then I started a new job. By the like just before my birthday, I think. Yeah. And also I did like a weird 1-month stint at IKEA. So 2021 it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I think that's self-explanatory. 2022, I quit that job after a year because I was like, fuck this place. Fuck. And it's so funny because I had been with one company for 7 years previously to that. Like that was my job before that. And suddenly I was just like, I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to just be at places for a year and that's it, like maximum. And that's what I've been doing so far. And I really felt like I never got that chance when I was like in my early 20s. Like I feel like that's something you do when you're like 20, 21. You just have like a job for a year and you're like, fuck this. But I decided to do it in my late 20s instead. Sue me. So yeah, I quit my job. I had a new job pretty soon after though. I also was volunteering because that job was only part-time, so I had time to volunteer. I was seeing friends a lot more. I went to London with Emily. I don't know why I put this in, but apparently it was notable. But that was really fun. Like that was our first trip with a friend. Although I'd been to trips with friends before, but like one that I know I will stay friends with. Let's just put it that way. And I also started dating again by the end of that year, and it was mostly good experiences. And that was also the year I turned 30, and I think I was like really looking forward to turning 30 for like a couple of years before, and then maybe like the month before 30 I was like, wait a minute, am I okay with this? And then when it did happen I was just like, cool. And it was a gorgeous birthday, very intimate, just me and 3 friends. We went for dinner and it was gorgeous. And I looked great. 2022, where did I put you? I put it in okay, yay! Because I think the friendship side of things was really strong. And I was starting to like hang out with people more. And it just felt nice. 2023. I got a better job than the one I'd had before 2023 started. It was like more hours. I went to Portugal with my friends, which was the best trip of my life. For my friend Brian's 30th, it was a surprise trip. It was so fun! And it was just the most amazing week. And I literally came back from it and I was like, I fucking hate being here. I want to be on holiday 24/7 with my friends. And I also went to Milan with my friend Emily a few months after that, which was stressful because it was like August in Milan, hot as balls. I had like I had been casually seeing someone end of 2022, start of 2023, and then he moved away, and then he came to visit me in the summer 2023, and we started seriously seeing each other like very intentionally, and we started a long distance relationship almost by accident. To me it felt like an accident anyway. I think it was always his intention, but I didn't realize. I was just like, we're just still casual. We were not anyway. And yeah, life was really, really, really good, except for my job became extremely stressful. My manager broke her elbow, and I was then expected to take on a bit more of the work, which was I was happy to do because I thought I was going to be there doing that for like 3 months at most, and it ended up being for over 6 months. So I became very, very stressed about it. But honestly, other than that, 2023 was one of the best years of my life. So it goes in Golden Memory Central. Love you, 2023. 2024. It started out okay, and then February hit, and I quit my job. And then I got really, really ill, and then I couldn't see my boyfriend for like 2 months, and then I did see him. Some fuckery happened, and we broke up a week after. So that was like, boosh, boosh, boosh. Like life knocked me the fuck down. So I also quit my job with very little safety net. I had like these grandiose plans. I was like thinking that I would maybe go down to stay with my ex for like a month or two, and he would get me some like shitty gig at a restaurant or something. But it was all very loose, and like we didn't really talk about it, we didn't really discuss it. And then when we broke up, I was just like, oh, now what? But yeah, like the cracks had started to show in the relationship, I would say from like January onwards. He was very stressed, I was very stressed, like we were just not in very good places. And that's like similar to the relationship before. Like it was no one's fault per se, although he did do some fuckery. He did. Anyway, and then I was unemployed, obviously, for 6 or 7 months, and it was a slog. I wrote, despite it all, I still persist. I really fucking did. I started volunteering in like May, and that was really good to have like purpose, to like get out of bed for a couple of days a week. And I also passed my driving test. I started driving in beginning of 2023, and I passed in June of 2024. So that's a year and a half. I mean, I did have a long 6-month break, I think, because work got really hectic, la-di-da-di-da. But yeah, I finally managed to pass it. I sat it twice. I passed on the second time. And yeah! Honestly, I need to relish in that more, because it's still really surreal that I did pass it. Do I still drive frequently enough? No, because my mom's insurance were arseholes, and it's going to cost her $2,000 if she puts me on it, so we're waiting. No more questions at this time. So I did that, and that was like the high of the year. And July was really great. But yeah, I was like tending to my little heart, heartbroken. You know, you saw it all. And I also got a new job last week. And that was like the 3 highs, I would say, of the year. Yeah, it's been a mostly fun summer. I've been hanging out with friends a lot, which has been really important to me and my mental health. And I have a lot of other fun things on the horizon. This past like couple of weeks have been really stacked as well. Like I went to see Azealia Banks, Jamie XX, Craig Charles all in the last like 2 weeks, and that was really great. And then, so obviously this comes out the day before my birthday, and the week after my birthday I'm going to London. a week and a bit after that, I'm going to Portugal. Yeah, yeah. So I think like this year will end on a high, hopefully. So I've tentatively put it in. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times, because I think from here on out, the only way is up, baby. The only way is up. So yeah, I've put it there. If it wasn't for passing my driving test or getting a new job, it would have been in, well, at least I learned something, but I think it deserves a place. And it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. So that's me. That's the last 11 years of my life. Hope you liked it. Hope it wasn't too navel gazy, not too narcissistic. But it's my birthday, I'm allowed. Okay. Also, before I go away, for my birthday, I would really love if people donated to some of the GoFundMe's that I'm gonna link in the description. I have been trying to like donate as much as I can where possible, usually $5, because I've been unemployed. But if you could match my $5 to the GoFundMe's that I've put in the caption, that would be amazing. And that's it. See you next time.